trying not to smile.
That makes it worse for us.
Okay.
Welcome to Your Asian Besties, a podcast where we reflect on our life experiences and what's helping us along the way. I'm Leah.
I'm Ray.
And I'm Marin.
Each episode we talk about a topic, unscripted and unfiltered. Today's topic is how Asian are we? And it's mostly focused on humanizing stereotypes. And I'm laughing as I'm doing this intro because before this recording, or before Ray hit record, we were talking about how we even got to this topic. So we have a group chat where we talk about random things. And a couple of months ago, Ray texted a video of a Filipino singing really awesome karaoke, like mind-crazingly good. And it was like, yes, this is like 1,000 or 10,000% accurate. I remember like Filipinos, or my Filipino students, like singing really awesome. And then I replied, because this triggered me in a way, like not a bad trigger by any means, but I experienced guilt because a lot of people, not just Ray, a lot of people do assume all Filipinos are really great at karaoke. And I would just say I'm okay. Like, I know my limitations. I'm an alto. Like, I can't hit the high notes. And everyone, whenever I go to karaoke, they expect me to sing really, really, really well. And that's a lot of pressure. So, yeah, that's how this episode came about.
Yes, and I think like Marin had a really, really good question.
Yeah, I mean, I was curious because obviously I think we've all seen those videos and like the reality shows. And yeah, I'm just curious like what your experience has been like. Like, has that been a part of your life experience of feeling pressure along the way to, well, you kind of mentioned that, yes, you do feel pressure.
Yes.
That people expect the karaoke, but I'm wondering, do you know where it comes from or what are your experiences with it?
Well, we can unpack this for each of us. For me personally, I remember growing up, like every family party I would have, every household had a karaoke machine. Like there was no question. And these karaoke machines had scoring boxes. So I basically grew up like making sure I got anywhere between 80 and 100 points. Like it was a competition between me and my cousins. Now, the karaoke machines don't care how well you sing as long as you're hitting the right notes. However that happens. And for me that's the goal, right? Like I want to score well. So I don't know where that pride comes from. And I also remember aunties or my uncle was really good. Like he had like his song, which was My Way by Frank Sinatra, like, really, really good. And even my mom, like when she would sing like classic Filipino songs, like really, really good. And, everyone would just cheer and clap. And yeah, I don't know. So I definitely felt that pressure. And I knew personally, I never took singing lessons. Well, I eventually did in like middle, high school, like joined choir groups, even in college, but that was singing in a group. And that was fine. But any solo singing, I definitely felt pressure. And I feel like some of that pressure of having eyes on me and me performing definitely adds to like, am I good enough? Like, how do I compare to all these other people who sing well? And I think in a way it is self-conscious, and it's weird. Like, I mean, how would I know if I'm good or not? And also internally, I just assume like everyone's way better than me. And, like karaoke, like I will pick songs that everyone in a group sings, like, like Piano Man or, like whatever. I don't know. If you think of your favorite karaoke song, it's probably sung in a group, and those are the ones I usually default to. So, yeah, I don't know if that answers your question. I don't know where it comes from, like why Filipinos and why singing, but it's definitely ingrained in, I guess, the culture growing up that karaoke is a thing you just do with your cousins.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds like a dream to me to have a karaoke machine at every house.
Yeah.
With the scoring. Because I think we played that in college. Like there was some type of thing.
Yeah.
Like when we'd have parties in college, they'd bring it up on the TV screen and it would rate you.
Yeah.
So.
But But you didn't have that
But
growing up?
no, I mean, I think I bought myself. I asked for one myself, where you put the CD in. It was like an MTV karaoke machine, and you had to put. There was only like CDs back then, so there was like a pop CD, R&B, and it only had like 10 songs on each CD, and there was
Okay,
only one mic. Yeah,
so like I don't know if there's a Filipino thing then. No, I remember going to stores where all they did was sell these ginormous karaoke systems and they had laser discs that looked like LPs. And yeah, like and you had tons of them.
that's
Yep.
It
what
was
I'm
like all
saying.
these
I mean, it's a
oh my
cult.
god.
It was
It's
in
but
your
that's so
family.
weird. I
Yeah.
just assumed like every Asian has a karaoke
No,
machine. See?
I
Stereotype.
wish. I wish. I'm jealous.
That's so funny because so my growing up, my mom, she's a singer-songwriter and she had these jam sessions with her musician friends. And also, like, we had a karaoke machine. I totally know the laser discs you're talking about. And like, we had one for every like genre. Like, we had the Beatles, we had like
Mhm.
Michael Jackson's, like, We Are the World. Like, that was one of my mother's favorites. There was like a lot, but I also thought, like, because my mother had a guitar and like her friends had musical instruments, I just thought everybody and their moms had like guitars. Like, and so, you know, it kind of was a norm for me growing up. So that's funny, Marin, you say like, oh, that scoring thing is strange because I didn't see that until I got to Korea, and saw like that you could actually score people based on how they sung. But you guys already know about my singing trauma, and so we don't have to go there. But I want to defend myself about this video that I sent in our group chat because like we are actively looking for topics, and whenever something comes up in the media that has something about our Asian experience growing up, or just in the external world, I'm like, oh, I wonder if there's something about this that could be turned into a topic. And so I sent it like thinking, I want, it could go both ways. Like either this is she meets the stereotype or she doesn't, and there will be a story.
It was
And
like
so
clickbait. Just kidding.
You're trying to
yeah,
spark
It
something.
worked.
yeah,
Well,
exactly.
what I thought is what's interesting is like, Ray, you're Korean American, and everything with K-pop, like now is such a phenomenon. So
Yeah.
it is interesting, like within the Korean culture and Filipino culture, that music is such a thing. Like I think more so than Japanese culture in terms
Mm,
of like what, you immediately think of, right? So did you
yeah.
have any of that influence, like with the K-pop and
Well, so I'm kind of going through a identity revolution. I think, and you guys are a part of this journey because for a really long time I was ashamed of my Korean culture, but that happened after I went through like a phase of loving K-pop. Like, I loved HOT. I wanted to meet them all the time. Like those kinds of things.
do you know DJ Doc? I had that CD.
I
I would
do.
pay my Korean friends to buy me those albums.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I love DJ Doc.
Yeah, they were really good.
Yes, they were really good.
Mhm.
And so a lot of those songs, a lot of those artists, I really enjoyed. But then I went through a phase of like rejecting my Korean culture, becoming really ashamed and trying to like survive in the real world, I guess, or like assimilate into American culture. And so right now, uh, having lived a collective, I don't know, 10 or 12 years in South Korea, I'm realizing actually I'm incredibly proud of being Korean, of having Korean heritage. And now I'm just like throwing myself into Korean culture. And I'm like, I want to speak the language. I want to know how to speak like professionally. I I just want to like show everybody how proud I am that I'm Korean. So like you guys caught me here during this phase of like just throwing myself into the culture. So I don't really know like if like the music had anything to do with like stereotypes or not meeting the stereotypes. But I'm kind of curious, like for you, Marin, if you Like if it's not like, I know you also really enjoy singing, and later on in life you took voice lessons and things like that. So I'm wondering if it maybe it's not music, but was there any other like stereotype or something that you felt like was something Japanese or something that was cultural that you felt like you wanted to embrace but couldn't, or that you never felt like you wanted to embrace or that you were ashamed of, or anything along those lines?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've maybe talked about it in past episodes, and what you described, definitely I can relate to that journey. So, growing up in the 90s, I love Sanrio, I love cute stuff. And then I became aware of the stereotype that, Asian girls love cute things, and so I also tried to distance myself from that um, in my adolescent years because I wanted to be taken seriously and I didn't want to
Yeah.
be associated, but I've definitely come around. Like, I love Hello Kitty. Hello Kitty gives me so much serotonin and I don't care. But I know a lot of people love it too that are like grown adults. And so I'm the same as you. It's like, and we went to Japan and there's so many cute things. And it's like, I definitely delight in that part of it. Um, I mean, it's funny because I think my email and my AIM had the word kawaii in it. So I think
Mm.
I was always a low key kawaii lover, but I wouldn't like wear like super cutesy clothes or any of that because I didn't really want to be stereotyped. But yeah, that's definitely one thing that I think it's in my blood, and I'm celebrating it more now.
Growing up,
Yeah.
I wished I was Japanese. I was like Sailor Moon, and I played Final Fantasy, which like RPGs were all the rage, and I loved Japanese pop music, like Ayumi Hamasaki, and yeah, the whole gamut. So
That's my middle name, Ayumi.
that's right.
Yeah, I need to look her up.
Oh yeah, I know it's so funny. I'm like not to stereotype. I was like, and like I would learn like how my Japanese friends try and teach me like how to write in Japanese. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is kind of trippy though, because like I am Yonsei, I'm fourth generation. So in a weird way, it's not like I wasn't born in Japan. My parents were born in the US. So I am very Americanized, in terms of my culture. So like, am I fetishizing my own culture? I mean, I'm
I
still
know.
Japanese, you know what I mean? But it's kind of weird to think about
Yeah.
because I was introduced to that through Sanrio, which was like an international, marketing campaign from Japan. Like, it was kind of coming about during that time, but I experienced it in America. So it's just weird, but I
That's
try not
really
to overthink it.
interesting. I think that's really, really interesting. I think even me when I was younger, like, like Korea and Japan, like they have a rift, right? There's like
Mhm.
beef, the two cultures. And so I remember like always thinking, oh, Sanrio things are cuter. Like Morning Glory is not that cute, right?
Oh my God,
And I'm
Morning
like,
Glory. That is
yeah,
such a throwback. I have not heard that in so long.
yeah, but that was kind of, I mean, I don't know if there was an actual competition, but there was like a cultural, like internally there was a cultural competition for me, and I don't know if this was like I knew about it when I was younger or if this is something that came in later, like a lens that came later in life. But I just remember thinking like, Japanese products were superior, and that Japanese culture like had uh, better technology, and so I was always kind of like shaming my own Korean identity or like my Korean history or culture, because I was always like, yeah, but hands down, Japanese products are pretty superior, And now I'm kind of like realizing, like, oh, was I unfair to kind of give that advantage? Um, and now I'm just kind of like, well, you know, now I have to sort of resolve that difference or try to eliminate. I don't know what it is, but I'm still working through that and trying to tell myself like there are advantages to both in every category, and so I don't know why I just thought of that when you guys were
I mean,
talking
this is
about
like
it.
stumbling on some uncomfortable territory. I don't know if we want to
That's
go
true.
here, But I'm curious. Well, yes, I mean, I was not aware of the history so much when I was younger,
Right.
but obviously,
Same.
like, Japan did some really awful things to Asia. They were like the colonizers of Asia. And so there is some, I don't know like all the facts of it, but some of this like kawaii culture in some ways, I wonder if it's a way to make them seem very innocent because they've done
Oh,
some pretty
interesting.
awful things, yeah, in the past. But I don't know how to ask this in a PC way, but there is the sense of like the certain privileges among certain Asians, like even the Southeast Asians, right? Like a lot of times, like Filipinos are left out of that. You just think of like,
Mm.
oh, Asians are just either Chinese, Korean, or Japanese.
Oh,
Do you know
yeah.
what I mean?
I
Like this
For a
sense
long
of,
time it was
yeah,
always like Pacific Islander, like
right,
that's what, and you're
which
like, no,
is,
that's more like Samoa and like the, US Virgin Islands. Or like definitely not. And yeah, anyway. It was a whole thing. Yeah.
yeah, I'm curious like how you like feel about that, because I also just felt like there was some types of hierarchy. I don't even know where I learned
Mm.
it from, but it also has to do with like the US's relationship to the different countries as well. Do you know what I mean? Like how we're fed certain information about different cultures and then how like some have no visibility whatsoever.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what that brings up for me, like when I visited the Philippines, I've only been there once when I was a teenager. It's very third world. Like a lot of the things I bought there, like Sailor Moon, knockoff, like cards or things like that, right? Knockoff video games. Like we didn't produce, or like to my knowledge, we didn't produce any cute stuff. Like, and I'm like, I want to be prideful. Like, where are our video games or our, animation or, who's a really prominent Filipino singer, right? Like, I don't know. Like, I knew Korean singers too. And like, Maple Story was a great game in college, like, which is from Korea.
That rings
But
a bell. Yeah.
yes. But like, yeah. So like when I go there, I definitely felt this sense, right? Of like I could see like the dynamic, right? Like I definitely very much could feel like, Philippines was definitely I guess lower in this kind of like Asian hierarchy where yeah, there was a time where I didn't identify as Asian. I was like,
Mm.
yes, Pacific Islander, right? Like we're kind of at the outskirts of
That was the
Asia,
only option.
you
Like, what
know?
else were you supposed to say? Like,
Yeah.
other,
Yeah, the
yeah.
Southeast Asian wasn't like a really big thing. So I definitely felt it. And then I think this goes back, I think I brought this in a previous episode, but one of our roommates, right, like said that she was raised, and she was Chinese American, raised to believe that like Filipino Americans were dirty or Filipinos were
Oh
dirty or
Mm.
my
something,
gosh, she
right?
was so
And
problematic.
but that's what I say, right? And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, but there is this like, and we've talked about like colorism and different skin tones, and definitely Filipinos, like I was always raised like, try not get so dark, and being dark is bad, and
Yeah.
like yeah, like there's always some things you can't help. So I think that's part of that too, but I don't know. So that's what comes up for me. Like I definitely felt it like when I visited, and yeah, just like when we talk about like the culture or like yeah, the entertainment industry and stuff like that. Like yeah, I can't really pinpoint like really prominent yeah, like Filipino art or anything like that
Well, it's
back in the
interesting
day.
because we started the episode talking about the singing,
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
such, so, I mean, it makes me think of like, in order to be like a culture maker, obviously every place has culture and traditions, but in order to publicize that on a mass scale, that requires a lot of power, privilege,
Mm.
money.
You know
That's what
what?
I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to hear your side, Ray, but what that brought up for me is Lea Salonga is actually a
Mhm.
Mm.
popular singer. She voiced
Mhm.
Jasmine in Aladdin, but Jasmine was not Filipino. Jasmine was Indian. Like, anyway, so yeah.
You just were like, I need to get
Like
that
I just need to get that out because yes,
Yeah.
like yeah, she was famous, and like she was very light skinned, and like yeah, like she was the voice of someone. It's not like she was a star on her own, right? So
It's
anyway.
interesting. Like, this is an aside, but have you guys seen that new Netflix documentary called Cat's Eye? I don't even know what the name is, but basically they're trying to apply the K-pop like methodology of creating a K-pop group to like an international pool of candidates. It was really
What?
interesting. You guys should watch it. Basically,
I
a girl
totally
group
want to watch
came
it.
out of that show, and they're like
What's the name of
famous
the
now.
girl group?
Cat's Eye with a
Oh.
K.
Oh, interesting.
Right.
I have never heard of it, but that's really interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting.
So,
But anyway,
okay.
back to stereotypes. I'm
Okay,
gonna say I
well,
don't.
back to like, yeah, this hierarchy thing, or
Yeah,
yeah, like
I don't like rice. That's one stereotype I don't fit for like all Asians. That's very general.
Mary.
No, no, it's not like I don't like it, but I'm not obsessed with it. Like to me, that's just like an accessory. Like I hear people saying like they love rice, like they have to eat it every
Yeah, it's like a staple. Oh, it was weird to not have rice. Like,
like okay, so that was my question. Like, do you guys like rice over noodles? Like rice versus noodles, where do you stand?
rice.
Yes, for me,
Really?
rice over noodles. I love my rice.
See, so yeah, I don't know. I'm standing alone, whatever. But yeah, like I will eat just a small amount. Like, because to me, rice is like very filling, and then it doesn't have that much flavor unless, you know what I mean? It's like a complement to a sauce or like a curry or something. Like, it's
But
kind of like a,
question, like,
what?
but noodles are also flavorless unless you add the
I like the
sauce.
texture better. I like the texture better. And there's different types. Like there's ones like these green ones or the rice one. You know, there's different types, different textures. Like rice is rice, and I don't know. Like maybe it's my body too. Like it just
Rice
gets
is-
so I get like kind of bloated. Like I just feel like very full from it. So even when I do eat it, I'll eat like a small amount. I never finish like it's like an Asian sin to not finish your rice.
Yeah. I
Like
mean,
I would
I
never
only
need a second helping of rice.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, my husband, like, he is the rice killer. Like everybody, all of his
I'm gonna call
colleagues,
him that.
all, all of like, oh, I don't know if this. I used to really love cereal. So like for breakfast, and so he actually like painted me like a cup that says cereal killer on it, but like the Cereal. And yeah, and so like I like my grains more now, but I eat more oatmeal than I do rice right now. But I like brown rice because it is very satisfying, but I can't have a lot of rice. Like 80 and 100 grams of rice is plenty for me. um but when you say like, oh, I definitely like noodles better, I just kind of think about, like, because every culture has their own type of noodle, and or types of noodles. I know, like, near UCLA, where you guys went to school, there was a place called Noodle Planet,
Oh yeah.
and there used to be, like, I don't know, there were all these different Asian types of noodles, and um, yeah, it can be, and so I don't know, like when you say like, oh, rice is, I mean, I don't know, like
I
there's
like
a,
sushi. Like, don't get me wrong, I like sushi. Like, that makes sense. But it's like part of the
yeah,
whole thing. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
if you just give me a big bowl of rice, like, I wouldn't really know what to do with it unless there was a
I
curry
eat
or there was
everything
something.
with rice, like fish with rice, chicken with rice,
Yes.
beef with rice,
I could see
Yeah,
that, like,
eggs
a
fish
with
and
little
rice,
bit.
noodles
A
wouldn't
little
go
bit.
well
any
together.
protein with rice.
Well, this is
Yes.
actually like when I go to some places, like a Thai restaurant or something, sometimes I substitute the rice for rice noodles and I make it a curry noodle.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I was at Ranch 99 today, and my mom wanted me to buy her certain noodles. And it was a whole aisle full of noodles. I was literally going on the phone with her, like, is it this kind? Is it this brand? Is it this type? It's like a vermicelli or a mung bean noodle or this noodle. And then she's saying it like in Filipino. So then I have to like translate like which
Pancit?
noodle. So there's so pancit can be made out of sotangho noodles, bihon noodles, and canton noodles. I think. Yeah, anyway, there's like 3 types she was having me find. And there's also pancit palabok. So pancit, there's many variants, and it's based on the noodle you make it out of.
Oh.
They're
So
rice
it's
noodles, right? Or
Yeah, I think I grabbed a type of rice noodle and also another bag of, I don't know what they were made of.
it's like a vermicelli. It's like the skinny.
Vermicelli. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's the one noodle, but that's not the one my mom wanted. There was another one that was like also made of rice, so a clear like type noodle. And then there was also another noodle she had me had that was like more on the yellowish, not transparent side.
So
And
maybe egg or something.
maybe it was an egg-based noodle.
Okay.
Anyway, but yes, to your point, it's a bunch
I
of
don't
noodles,
discriminate. I love all noodles.
I was
got
overwhelmed by this noodle shopping.
Yeah, my
There's a
girlfriend
lot.
at her wedding, she had pancit. I was so excited.
Yeah,
And like
I like
every
pancit.
event she has it.
it's awesome.
And I really like the jjajangmyeon.
What's that?
You know, the black bean
Yes,
noodle?
the black
Noodle?
bean
It's,
Oh,
noodle.
it's
I've
so
never had
good. Netflix has so many specials on like
Did
all
they
these.
taste different?
Yeah,
Or are they
it
just
has.
different textures?
I mean, the noodle is the noodle. It's like a mid thickness, but it's a
Okay.
sauce. It's like a black bean sauce.
Ah.
So I feel like the noodles serve the same purpose as the rice. I just prefer noodles.
I feel
Because I've
like
even had sushi like at this one place by me. It's soy paper, and then it doesn't even have any rice. It's all fish. It's so good.
interesting.
Anyway, hopefully I won't get any hate for this.
Ray, what were you saying?
But Ray, I know you and the kimchi. You should talk about that.
Oh my gosh, that's
Ooh.
so funny. So, okay, so when I was younger, I really loved cake, right? Like I loved sweet things. And every time a cake would go in the refrigerator, I would not be able to eat it because it no longer tastes like cake. It smells like kimchi to me.
Oh, oh, you didn't
And
have
so
a separate kimchi fridge.
no.
no, like when I was well, first of all, I grew up poor, so even if that was invented, like the kimchi refrigerator was invented, I don't think we would have had one. But I just I just hated the idea of it. I hated the smell of it. It was so offensive to me. And I hated that everybody needed to eat it all the time. I just really don't like kimchi, like with a passion. And so it's not a coincidence that the man I married, a Korean man, does not eat kimchi either, right?
Really?
Yes,
Oh,
I had
he's a
that
rice
was like
killer. Sans
he's
kimchi.
a rice killer
I thought you were
without
saying he's a kimchi killer.
Nope. Nope. I mean, honestly, that was one criteria. Like when
That's
I
on your
was
list.
Oh,
That was
you
on my
asked
Who
list.
you wanted in your soulmate must hate kimchi.
Yes, it was like that was that was the deal sealer, right? Oh. No, I
Do you
mean,
remember your
kind
first
of
experience
joking.
like actually eating it?
Okay, so I actually had never eaten kimchi. I just was so offended by the smell that I never ate it, right? And then a couple of months ago, so I try to eat vegetables with every meal. Like, I try to have a certain proportion of like carb to protein, right? And I make sure to eat a lot of vegetables. But we went out to this Korean barbecue restaurant and I was not eating raw lettuce at the time. And so I was like, oh, there are no other vegetables I can eat. For the audience, I have an eating disorder. I'm working on it. But anyway, so I was like, well, what can I eat? And they were grilling this like white kimchi, like just cabbage that was fermented on the grill. And I was like, all right, this is the only vegetable that I can eat that fits within my dietary standards at the moment. So I like was like, all right, I'm just gonna do this, like close my nose and eat it. And I ate it and I was like, oh my God, this is so good.
It's good for you too,
You
like for your
kimchi.
gut.
Yeah, so it's like totally like the Dr. Seuss green eggs and ham story. Like at the end of the day, I realized, oh, I actually don't dislike it. I actually like it. So
Let that be a lesson, everybody.
Well, to
You
be
gotta
honest, I
try
think it's kind of like a hard thing maybe for kids because our palates are more simple back then,
True.
you know, and the smell is very distinct. And I feel like it's as we age, maybe we can like sense more of these like umami or different types of combinations of flavors.
I have a random question. Did you say Korean barbecue? Like, because it's actually Korean barbecue? Because you're in Korea, would it just be barbecue? I always wonder about this. Like, is it like actually a special kind of barbecue?
That is such a funny question. It's kind of like the French fry question in France, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Is it just fries?
you're right. Like I guess in Korea, you just call it a 고깃집, right? Like a meat house. But I guess when you are in the States and you have access to multicultural foods, you have to specify. So yeah, that's a very good question. I don't know why I just called it Korean barbecue. I guess
Because
I because
you're American.
because when I'm speaking English,
Yeah.
Yeah.
English,
when
I
you're
call it Korean
translating.
barbecue. But when I'm speaking Korean, yeah, I don't call it Korean barbecue.
But then would you qualify American barbecue? If there was a place in Korea that served like
I do. I do say
okay,
American
like
barbecue
Texas
or like Texas.
roadside.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Very
But
different.
I don't know. And like Brazilian, right? Like Brazilian
Yeah.
barbecue is different also. And then also I think of
Mongolian. Wait, yeah.
Oh yeah, Mongolian or is it Turkish?
Mm.
Like how they cut. Oh,
I thought that
anyway,
was
Oh,
Russian.
in Spain they do that. I forgot the term, but yeah, the big meat.
yeah,
Yeah, where they shave it off.
right, right, exactly. So I mean, there's just different ways. So, but in this situation, yeah, very good question. But yeah,
I guess you're talking to an American audience mostly, probably.
Yeah.
true,
Okay. Interesting.
very true. Because our podcast positioning is basically talking about our Asian American like experiences, right? So yeah, this is
I'm
I
just
don't know
curious.
why it's like we're talking and then we go meta and then we're like talking about the subject and then we go meta again and I mean I guess that's kind of what we do.
Yeah.
That's so
All
funny.
part of our brand.
Yeah, totally. We're totally on brand.
Anyway, I was gonna say fish sauce was that for me. Growing up, could not stand the smell of it. It's strong stuff. Kevin will like vomit if he smells it. Like it's that like salt.
It's very
I don't know.
concentrated because you're only supposed to use a
Yeah.
little amount, like in soups and things.
Oh yeah, no, definitely not a little amount with my parents growing up. But yeah, a lot of strong smelling foods like tripe too, and things like that, or stews with. Yeah. Was there anything for you, Marion? Like, I guess that's similar.
I mean,
I
wasabi
mean,
was hard. I had a story
oh,
because we used to go to these like Japanese like buffets with my family for certain holidays and stuff. And there was like a mount. I thought it was green tea ice cream as a kid, and I got like a bowl
yes,
of it.
I've
And
done
I
that one.
I was like I quickly regretted it because it's very intense. Like if you have too much wasabi, it goes straight to your nose. You know, it's kind of so that was probably one thing. But I mean, I remember like my grandma, if they would like fry a fish or have the fish fillet, she would eat out the eyeballs of the fish. And like as a kid, she would give me one and be like, "Oh, eat this for good luck," and I would eat it.
Would you still do
It's
it
not,
now?
it's not my first choice, no.
That's how I felt about chocolate meat, which was pork blood, like meat cooked in pork blood. And growing up, they were like, "Oh, it's chocolate meat," and I'm like, "Yay!" And then I found out when I was like 12. It's like, nope, never again.
Yeah, I feel
Oh
like,
my
I don't
gosh.
know, the Japanese foods, they're kind of like somewhat more mild, you know? I feel
They
like in Korean
are
cuisine, they're like spicy, you know? It's like,
That's
bam,
true. There's a
flavor.
lot of spicy.
It's a little
Yeah.
more like
spicy
the
and garlicky.
wasabi. I love garlic. I mean, yeah.
I
But
don't.
like
Do you
Japanese food,
like
I don't know.
spicy food, Ray? Like, are you
Yeah.
like very tolerant of really spicy food then?
I can't eat spicy food
Oh.
at all. And that's what's really interesting because so another part of me that really loved Japan is like, I really love Japanese food because I'm like a soy type of girl. Like I love soy and ginger and there's like plenty of soy and ginger in, Japanese cuisine. And I also like things that is not super garlicky and I like things that are clean tasting and like cooling. And so I think, the first few times that I was in Korea, I was always like, oh, I want Japanese food. And so like my Korean colleagues, like whenever they would ask me that question, like, what what food could you eat for the rest of your life? And I would always be like Japanese food. And, I was always like a traitor to my culture because I was always like, Japan is the best products. Like, and if you look, there was like a period of like historical turbulence, I don't know, political turbulence in South Korea, and everybody was boycotting like Muji and like all these brands like Uniqlo that I love, right? And I'm just like, no. And that was like really hard. I don't know why I keep coming back to this piece. It's
Maybe
something
you
that I
can't help
think
your constitution. Maybe you would eat
I
spicy
know.
food and kimchi if you could handle. I mean, it's not that I've gotten older. Like I do like spice, like I do that, but then like as I'm getting older, my stomach is just way more sensitive to things.
Sensitive, yeah.
And yeah, so like, and I think with Japanese food, like it is kind of it's like that's an Asian thing too, where they say not too sweet, right? Oh, it's good. It's not too sweet. Like they'll say that a lot about a lot of the sweet stuff in Japan. So it's always like that, not too sweet, not too salty, a little bit of both, the umami. So I feel like my palate is kind of like that, where I like a bit of a like complex flavor, but kind of like a delicate, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I'm kind of like wondering, I think one of the kind of research that we were maybe thinking of doing for this episode was like looking up all those like stereotype lists, like, you're Filipino when, or, you're Korean when, or, you're Japanese when. And I'm wondering like if any of the lists or any of the items on your list kind of like stuck out for you that we haven't talked about yet.
I found another list that was more generic Asian too, that I'd be
Mm.
curious if it hits all of us. But we can start, with our our research.
I can't
Erin?
think of any other. Why don't you go through the list? The list that you found, because then we can all respond.
Oh, the
Yeah.
the generation one, yeah.
Or just some of them that stick out. Because I found a list that was more like Japanese American. I really couldn't find like a list for like Japanese in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think while Leah looks for that, I was just kind of thinking like the something that I realized when going through all these lists, because there are a lot, is I think I always felt like, Korean girls are skinny, they're beautiful, like they're, blah, blah, blah. And I never felt like I met up or I met any of those standards. And so I think that kind of made it easy for me to sort of reject my Korean culture and be like, well, I don't fit in any of the boxes anyway. So it's not like my culture even like embraces me anyway. And so I think that's what made it also easy for me to kind of depart, but also makes it bittersweet because I'm like making my descent back and I'm like, well, I don't want to call it my descent, but like
Yeah.
my way, my journey back.
Your
But
reclamation. I can't say that word.
Reclamation. Yeah.
I can write it.
I mean, I can identify with that. I think I've talked about it in the past episodes, but I was tall and I'm also pretty tan. Like on my dad's side, they're all tan. My mom was a little more fair. But so I just felt like being Japanese American, because being the fourth generation, is just like a unique thing. So I think I held myself more to those standards. Like I wouldn't see myself as like, oh, I'm fitting into that geisha, standard of the super fair skin and being very like obedient. Like I was a good kid, but I think my personality also, I felt that there is something more inside of me, like more, I don't know, like I wanted to be more, I had opinions, I wasn't just going to be like a subservient, like,
Let's
okay,
say umami,
yes,
but like personality wise, you're like kind of sweet, but not too sweet.
Exactly.
That's a really great
I think my
insight
sweetness
observation.
is wearing off.
Yes.
You're complex. You're complex, Mary, in a good way.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, Leah,
My
did you,
sweetness
I
is-
mean, did you kind of feel like you fit in with the, I don't know.
Yes, because
Or-
people call me out and be like, "You look really familiar." I'm like, "You've never met me before, but they've probably met another Filipino before." And
Oh no.
You have a friendly fate. Well, it's really weird. I'm not doing this to like stereotype you at all, but you remind me a little bit of my aunt. Like my mom, well, my dad's sister. So I think when we met, like I had an immediate like feeling of comfort with you. Like, oh, I already know you. And you're so
Yeah.
friendly. Like you have a very warm, like friendly energy to you. And
Bubbly.
you're always smiling, and that could be part of it too.
That could be
Yeah.
it. Like, but I think most Filipinos are actually known for it. Yeah, like always having like being humorous or laughing a
Oh,
lot,
yeah.
you know? Which probably like goes way back into cultural like trying to let things roll off their backs without taking everything personally, because at least my dad told me this like when he joined the Coast Guard. Okay, so one of my Filipino stereotypes before we get to the general Asian ones is you have like a dad in the Navy, which is very true.
Mm.
Like he was in the Coast Guard. And the US would do that. Like the US, you know, to get like a ticket to America would recruit like Filipinos for like the bottom of the barrel. Like my dad was a cook on a ship. But he was also grateful for the opportunity, right? Because otherwise, you know, like he got pension once he retired. He was there for 20 years, did the service, you know, and there was this level of respect. But he told me one time he remembers way in the beginning, people that he didn't understand English or whatever, or like would really be condescending to him. Like there were some, you
Mm.
know, like Caucasians that would be, and he would just be like, yeah, I just learned to like not let it affect me, because you know that was some kind of power for him, you know,
Mhm.
to know his self-worth. But I remember that story and I'm like, oh, like to not be able to call someone out, right? Because you're like literally ranked the lowest, right, of all these tiers, right? Like that's what the military is. And also like being othered. And then, you know, how do you like stay in that kind of situation for a long time? So
Yeah.
sometimes I think like I wonder if that humor comes from is because like it is like a way to get through the day, you know. But I
Mm.
digress. So
Yeah, I mean, I think
yeah.
there's a distinction because we were kind of talking about this earlier. Is just, I mean, I think there are certain like cultural things because of like historic moments and certain opportunities, right? They always like how you were mentioning, like, oh, there's a lot of Filipino nurses, there's opportunities there. Doesn't mean every Filipino is a nurse. Like some of those are like facts in some ways. It doesn't mean
They
every
are.
Filipino meat is going to be that, you know, but there's
Yeah.
nothing derogatory about that really. It's more just like it is what it is, you know, but then there's the negativity of it.
Yeah.
And we were talking about how there is more of a comfort like being a person of color that where you can kind of joke about the different stereotypes or even among your own
Mm.
people and your own culture. But then if it's through the white lens, it's a white person saying, "Oh, are you a nurse?" Oh, it comes off obviously differently, right? So
Yeah.
I think that is a distinction that's
Why
important.
though? Why is it a distinction?
Well, I think it's hard because part of honoring someone's cultural identity is to honor it. And I think like like in our experience like white Americans they lump Asians into this big
You're
bucket,
right.
right? Where they
Yes.
might assume like I'm Chinese or this and that. You know, I when I was growing up a lot of people were like, "Oh, you look just like Lucy Liu." And I'm like, "I look nothing like Lucy Liu, but that's the only Asian person you know."
No.
So I think it's coming more
uh,
from ignorance versus like an somewhat of an acknowledgement of the culture like, "Oh, I know something about, you know, like I feel like
yes.
we know we
Yeah.
have a more nuanced view of, you know, Korean, Filipino, Japanese because we're maybe have friends that are of those cultures and we experience the culture and we indulge in the culture. So, I mean, it's also just the systemic racism of it all.
Yeah.
I mean, as well, the power structures. So, um, yeah.
That's a very good point. I guess now I'm thinking like, okay, if there's any like white listeners out there, like, is there something you want to tell them? Like, don't stereotype. And also, right, I think yeah, I think the biggest thing that you hit the nail on the head is like to kind of understand the culture. And given this podcast too, like not I mean, we're all three very different culture, you know, like culturally different backgrounds. And we know enough about some of those distinctions to be able to yeah appreciate each other. um and yeah, like if you think of all Asians as just Asian. Like, oh, like, what do you want to eat tonight? Like, Asian food isn't all just Asian food. Like, hopefully that's obvious by now. But yeah, like I've heard some of that, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and that's my, I guess, personal experience. But we know like the question of like, where are you from? Do you speak English? Like, I think we probably all experienced that. And it's how you started the episode, which is about like humanizing the person. So if you're really curious about, oh, so you were born here, and then where is your, what's your family history? Or if you're having a conversation, you see them as a person and not just like assuming from this
That they're
dehumanizing.
exotic and that, oh, you must not be from here because you don't look like me. Yes. Actually, that is one of the lists on the general Asian. Like, if you get the question, where are you from? So.
Well, what I was thinking is I think like so two things I think come to mind is one is like, you are just one Filipino person. You are just one Japanese American person. Like I'm just one Korean American person, right? Like to know that my experience as a Korean American person doesn't define the same like experiences or values as another Korean American person's, right? And that based on like your takeaways from your understanding of me, not to plug that formula into the next Korean American person you meet, right? I think that that's important too. And I think about as somebody who like used to make a lot of jewelry, like I categorize all of my stones, right, by color and by cut. And I do that because it's easy for me to make the jewelry that I want to. But to do that for people, like I think we do need to do that somehow, like cognitively for like our sanity to understand how people belong in our own minds. But I think, yeah, and it goes beyond like just the dominant race, right? Like I think that when I experienced racism when I was younger, it wasn't just from people who were white. It was also it was just all across all cultures. Because when I was growing up, like people didn't really know what Korea was or where it was or how it was different from Japanese or Chinese. And so, like, I would experience racism from people outside of even they were Asian, but I would still be discriminated against because like Korea was so hierarchically below what they were. And so I think we've talked about this in previous episodes, Leah, you talking about like the power imbalance, right? I think whenever there is a power imbalance and you know that you have some type of social privilege than another person, I think we have to be especially careful. And like Marin was saying, like humanize, right? Humanize them and come from a place of curiosity and not assumption and trying to prove that you know something about the culture because maybe you do, but maybe that won't be applicable in this particular relationship. So I don't know. Those were the two things that came up for me.
Yeah, that's beautifully said.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you.
So I was going to go to the list now. But I'm curious because a lot of this, I think, comes from Asians being more like, you know, of a collective. So one of them is I'm curious, like, do you call folks auntie or uncle even if you're not related to them? Because I definitely do.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm wondering,
That's on the list.
is that not like a normal thing? Like outside of.
Oh, yeah, no, because like I have neighbors and like I was like, oh, call them auntie or uncle, and they're like calling Miss Leah or Mr. Kevin. I'm like, okay, yes,
I actually love that, the auntie uncle. Like it
yeah.
feels so nice. Like we're a community.
It's actually weird for me to hear my kids refer to adults with just their first names. I'm like, no, that's your auntie, blah blah blah. Even like to my sister, Lisa, they'll be like, Lisa, I'm like, that's Auntie Lisa. Say Auntie, and that's actually their auntie, you know? And I'm like, oh, you're not being respectful.
Yeah.
Okay,
Check
I don't
on
know
that one.
So check on that one, but I'm curious about this one because I actually don't know the history of this. Leaving your shoes at the door or storing them on a shoe stand at the front of the house.
Obviously.
Cleanliness.
But why?
Yes.
I guess why?
Cleanliness?
Why is this an Asian thing?
Yeah, cleanliness. You don't want to track the outside dirt into the house. I mean, I think like in terms of Japanese culture, like because a lot of their flooring, you know, traditional homes, they would have like the tatami floors and everything.
Yeah.
And then it's like that
Or
would
you
ruin the
sleep
floor.
closer to the floor, right? Like
They sleep on the
yes.
floor. Yeah, they might have a thin thing. Yeah, so I feel like that's where that comes from, like in terms of Japanese culture. But it just seems respect. It's like it seems like a sign of respect, right? Like this is your home, and I'm not gonna track my dirty.
I don't know where you've been. Like, yeah, you're dirty. And then the third one is you then feel conflicted when you visit a friend's house and you're told to wear your shoes inside their home, even though it feels wrong.
Yeah, I mean, and also I remember like when we were living in the dorms, you know, it's like where you sleep. Like these dirty guys would just come and like be all up on your bed with their dirty outside clothes and their shoes and you know, that kind of stuff. You're like, even like eating in bed. I'm like, I don't know, getting all the food in the bed.
Even like jeans on the bed. Like I heard that used to bug me. I'm like, no, like, funny.
Yeah.
Okay, see, and then this.
That means like that seems like a common sense one to me. Like to me, that's not like an odd cultural thing.
But it's not
like,
to everyone. Like
no, I know. Yeah, I know.
That's why I'm like.
But imagine if you live like in a place that gets weather, like you know, snow and like stuff like that, and all mud. Like, wouldn't the logical thing be like take off your shoes before you get in the house? Like,
but what if you have like bare feet? Like, what if you're wearing flats? You know, like. Then I also think that's kind of weird to ask.
Because like the Japanese people will have the sandals, like so when they leave the house, they will like put them, I think, in the direction, like so it's easy to get in when they come in, and then you know you have your inside shoes and I have house slippers.
But do you offer other people slippers?
Yeah,
I don't.
Oh, you do. I thought about it.
I think it's a Korean thing to do. I think most Korean houses that do entertain or like have guests over frequently, they usually have. Well, in Korea, like where I live, that's common practice where everybody has indoor shoes for their guests.
I don't. But they got to take them off.
Yeah.
And I used to have friends that would come over, they didn't want to take it off, and they'd be like crawling around my apartment. I'm like, all right, rolling around.
That's so funny.
Because they're too lazy.
Oh my gosh, that's so crazy.
We never know whose house we're going to go into, and the kids are always looking at me to like a signal whether they keep their shoes on or off. It's really cute.
Oh, that is cute.
Okay, I'll read a couple more, but yeah.
And by the way, I don't know if you guys saw that like controversy over the shoe thing.
No.
I'll have to send it to you. I don't know the details, so I can't totally speak about it, but it's like some white lady who's like an etiquette person, like saying how that's like really rude to ask your guests to take off your shoes.
Oh, yes. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know, like,
several weeks ago.
Yeah, she was just like, that's so tasteless, or, you know, she was like really condescending about it.
Okay, that will be a follow-up episode.
We'll have a whole episode on the shoes. TBD.
Oh my gosh. We've covered some of these before. So one was, having random people ask, where are you really from? And then the next one was receiving brutally honest comments about your appearance from parents and extended family. We had a whole episode on that recently. Okay. Not being allowed to go to bed with wet hair or leaving like the fan on while you're sleeping.
I do that all the time. Like from my understanding, I know it's like a Chinese cultural thing.
Yes.
And especially like when you give birth, like you can't, they want you to be warm all the time. Like they don't want fans on you. They don't want you to eat cold food. They want you eating like warm broths. So I think it's more of like a health origin to it. But I'm too lazy. I never blow dry my hair. I'll just like,
Oh,
if it's kind of
really?
wet, like I'll try to dry it a little bit and then I'll just like put it on top of my head and put a towel over my pillow.
Oh my gosh, you guys. I am like totally into TCM right now, traditional Chinese medicine. And I just am following all of the tenets because I need all of the help that I can get to heal my gut and my nervous system. And it's been helping. It's the only thing that has helped me. Um, well, actually, I don't know. My levothyroxine for my thyroid is Western medicine, and that's really been helping too. But yeah, following all of the yeah, like I suffer from a lot of damp in my system. And so I am very careful to cook all of my food and, keep my feet warm or keep my stomach warm. Like I always have a blanket on my stomach. Yeah, so like the warmth thing is really important. So yeah,
Yeah, I
I
want to do an
always blow
episode
dry
on
my
that.
hair.
I'm really curious about all
Ah.
that stuff. We'll do an episode on Eastern medicine.
Yeah, it was definitely
Not
no no
not
for me.
coming from a place of expert, but
You're
yeah.
like, yeah. I
Do
was like,
you
wet hair
sleep with
was.
wet hair? Oh, you couldn't do it. Oh.
I couldn't. No, yeah, my parents. I couldn't leave the house with wet hair. I always had to blow dry it, or I couldn't go to bed with wet hair. Yeah, I was like, you'll get
Yeah.
sick. That's what I was
I
told.
know that's the thing in Japan. I think it's disrespectful if your hair is not dry and done.
Ah.
Yeah.
We also talked about this in a previous episode, but yeah, feeling the pressure to become a doctor, lawyer, engineer, or accountant in order to make your family proud. You know us by now. We're none of those things. So, but the final I will leave us with is ultimately you end up carving out your own career path, even if your parents don't quite understand what you're doing. So that one, yeah,
Very
I
true.
think,
Yeah.
and
This must be
I
a
think,
modern one.
yeah,
It was a BuzzFeed, right?
it is
Oh
a
yeah.
BuzzFeed one.
Yeah.
You know what? But I like that, right? I think kind of sums up
Yeah.
this podcast too. Like, how do we humanize stereotypes? What is like behind these things? And yeah, I think initially to Ray's point, it's a great way to, I guess, like kind of make sense of things, like have some kind of mental model. But with any mental model, like I think especially when you're talking to another human, is to get to know them, like as a person, and
Hmm.
to lead with that. Like instead of just assuming, like, oh, you know, you must love lumpia or whatever it is. Like you can ask someone what their favorite food is.
I love lumpia.
I do too.
It's so good.
It's good too. I like it, but I mean, you can't just
It's a
go assume
perfect
it.
size for me. It's a perfect size.
And it has no rice, so
There you go. I think that's why it doesn't have noodles. It has noodles in it. That's why I like it.
oh.
It does. Yeah. The vermicelli.
Anyway, so I think, yeah, I mean, this is a really good episode. Would love to hear any questions you all have. We will be truthful and honest, authentic and unfiltered. Um, and I think the biggest thing to know is like, one, yes, if you ever feel like you're being stereotyped, definitely call it out. And if the person loves you and wants to keep you safe, they will definitely acknowledge it. Yeah. And right, and then vice versa, if someone brings up a stereotype, right? I think can't get offended if, yeah, like they don't meet that stereotype because it's a stereotype. Every person's different. Um anyway, so before I wrap it up, any you have any final words today? No? All right. Cool. Well, if you haven't already, follow us at Your Asian Besties on social media and subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or YouTube. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.